Hey, everybody. It's Jeff. I am moderating.
Rena.
Yes, Rena. I'm moderating Nick and Q Debate the Universe. And it's going to be really fun. On my right is Quentin Williams. Quentin.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here tonight and to be a winner.
All right. And on my left is Nicholas Longshore.
Hello. Glad to be here as well. And sorry for that opening.
I've heard people say I don't talk enough, so I'm just kidding. All right, tonight we're going to be doing...
Do those people listen to our show?
Tonight we're going to be doing 9 questions. We were going to do 10, but we're skipping one.
Because it was the stupidest question of all time.
Yes.
It was who's the GOAT of basketball, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? And like either of us are going to take LeBron James in that argument. No.
Well,
It's not going to happen.
that was a viewer question, so you'll have a...
the viewer can know it's Michael Jordan, and it's
down.
not that close.
Let's go watch the documentary. I know you forgot. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Let's go watch the documentary.
Yes.
All right, so each person is allowed 3 minutes. We'll have a 1-minute rebuttal on anything that is brought up that is outside of the subject. So, and then another 3 minutes onto the same questions.
So what might we bring? Well, never mind.
What?
Just curious what might be brought up outside the subject, and then I realized that my opponent is Q. So there's really no telling. Yeah.
All right.
By the way, are you okay tonight?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm feeling great.
It's really your face. And your face just made me think you might not be feeling that well.
Well, I was having heart attack
Yeah.
pains earlier.
It's like your jowls.
Sometimes I have heart attack pains in my left arm, but it's not really a heart attack. It's just some weird thing.
Gas?
Yeah. My left elbow joint. My left elbow joint doesn't feel great tonight.
Left elbow joint. Isn't that redundant? Left elbow is your joint.
I don't know. Isn't you talking most days redundant?
Gosh. All right, on to our first question. For many years, and I can personally vouch for this, Quentin has sung the praises of the 2008 film Mamma Mia. Nick has claimed recently on this podcast that Hamilton is one of the best things he's ever seen. Which of these is the better musical? Now, I forgot to bring a quarter. Who has a quarter?
Nobody has quarters anymore.
Just pick a number 1 through 10.
You can go first. I want to hear Q's argument for this. I don't care.
Pick a number 1 through 10.
Yeah, I want to hear whatever ridiculousness is about to come out of his mouth.
Okay.
So let's go.
So I go first.
So Q, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Well, I don't want to degrade Hamilton too much. That's for sure. Because it is a good film. But what I will say is that it's inferior in a couple of ways to Mamma Mia. Number one, the level of actors that are involved in Mamma Mia is a higher level of the actors that are involved in Hamilton. All right. Now, hold on. I know you're going to say these names that are big names in the, Broadway theater world, but we're talking about some of the greatest actors and actresses ever that are on Mamma Mia. I mean, you can't debate that. You know that to have
One. There's one.
No, there's 2 at least.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
And also, it where Hamilton takes its story from history, it doesn't leave a lot of room for creativity because the story has already been written. The creativity that Mamma Mia does to take a group of songs by one of the greatest bands and probably one of the most innovative bands of its time, ABBA, and to take those songs and to create a whole story out of a set of songs takes an amount of creativity that's unique to the music world that we've seen. Because most musicals, the story is laid out and then the songs are placed in that story to make the story run. What Mamma Mia does is it takes a group of songs and lets the songs create the story, which is one of the most incredible pieces of masterful work that we've seen done in a musical. And it's been done different. It was different. And it's really hard not to watch Mamma Mia and just have this sense of happiness, of joy that it gives you. Now, Hamilton gives you all kind of other emotions. I don't take that away from it. And at times, a lot of laughter. But the overwhelming goodness in a world that we have lost the sense of goodness that Mamma Mia gives us is something I believe that not only I should enjoy and that I can gain something from, but our whole world can gain something from. Thank
That was
you.
your 3 minutes. Nicholas?
I'm going to use every argument you just made and tell you why you're wrong. Okay, you just said that Mamma Mia was unique. There's nothing more unique than Hamilton. It is a hip-hop musical that where the characters are all white, but they're played by Latinos and blacks and all sorts of different, creed. And I mean, there's nothing more unique and creative than Hamilton. And here's the thing about the whole using the ABBA songs. I get it. It's a cool idea. But there's so many times in Mamma Mia where they're like singing a song and it's like, oh, well, they just stuck this in there. It has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. There's so many times where things like that happen. And I will give you okay, if I'm going to sit down on a Sunday afternoon and just want to, I'll put on some Mamma Mia because Mamma Mia is like, a 90s comedy of musicals, but it's not even in the same class or ballpark as Hamilton. It's not in the same class or ballpark as Grease. I mean, that's a great movie musical as well. So you're not even getting anywhere near Hamilton with that. So I don't need either.
If I can, Jeff, just what's funny is that I grew up on a farm in Alder Springs, and every arena I've tried to go into, I can't tell you how many times people said I don't even deserve to be in the same ballpark. So Mamma Mia is breaking down barriers and it's doing things, and to be discounted in such a way, I just want the people of our podcast to know that you don't have to be discounted. You may not think you deserve to be in an arena, but you take what you are and you make something special of it. Just know that out there, people.
Just know that I will not take something and degrade it to a level where it can be argued with against something like this. I mean, I love Happy Gilmore, but I'm not going to argue with you that it's a better film than The Godfather Part 2.
Can you sing part of a Hamilton song?
Huh?
Can you sing part of a Hamilton song?
Yeah, I can sing part of any Hamilton song.
Okay. How many, do you think more people can sing part of a Hamilton song or a Mamma Mia song?
I don't know. Depends on how
I call that unfair because Hamilton is recent where ABBA has been around since the 70s, so.
And it has staying power.
On to our next question.
Look, the argument was not ABBA's music. The argument was Mamma Mia. And you just talking about ABBA being around since then. Yeah, ABBA's great. But the argument that we're not talking about ABBA, we're talking about the music.
Mamma Mia introduced ABBA to a new generation.
It's great.
On to our next question.
Hamilton introduced history to a new generation.
Gentlemen. Hey. I'm the moderator here. All right. Hypothetically, if you're elected mayor of Albertville, how would you be effective?
So is this my question?
This is on to you, Nick.
It's a question that I don't really know the answer to because I don't think much of myself as a politician in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, what the city of Albertville right now is doing is really, really good. I mean, we've got a brand new, huge rec center. We're getting new stores. We're getting a Firehouse Subs and a Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, come on. I mean, I really don't. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I could do to be much more effective than what's currently happening. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss. There's some roads that need work, but you probably got to have money to do that. And I don't know if they have the money. So I don't. Yeah, I'm out.
Quentin?
I think what I would do. I do agree with my opponent that we have made some great inroads in the city of Albertville over the last few years, and I've been pleased with the administration and many of the decisions they have made and taken us to the next level as a city. I think that being said, with our growing population and the diversity that exists, what I would look to be doing is finding someone that would be focusing on the culture of our city, not just the prosperity of the business world of our city. So I think maybe instilling some kind of team or bringing an advisory board that would deal with cultural issues, maybe some of the cultural diversity issues that exist in our city, making sure that people have their voices heard of different ethnicities, making sure that we look at not just how to create new businesses, but create experiences that enrich our city as well. So how do we Do things like Huntsville has done with parks, like, events downtown, those type things. Maybe making sure we continue to focus on that more. I think a lot of that's fallen on the shoulders of the Chamber of Commerce, and I think the city could do more to kind of support that from their own end, especially with all the added tax revenue that should be coming in from all the business that's been happening here recently. I mean, that's what I do.
I couldn't agree with that more. I think it's great. And, just an example of some of those events we could do. I think putting on a show of Hamilton, somewhere downtown would just be a great way to show that cultural diversity, and reach out. I think that would be a great idea.
Thank you, gentlemen. In a scenario from the movie The Good Son, have you guys seen that movie?
I don't think I have seen The Good Son.
I've seen it.
Dang, Macaulay Culkin.
But
It's really weird.
He's a creep, man.
the way you're about to describe it makes me never want to see it because it sounds like 2 hours of anxiety.
All right. So in the scenario from the movie The Good Son, a mother is trying to save her children who are dangling off a cliff, hanging on each of her arms. You are in this scenario. On one arm is hamburgers, on the other is peanut butter. You have to let one go, and it will be gone for all eternity. Which one do you choose to survive, Quentin?
Definitely drop Hamilton and keep Mamma Mia.
I'll re-ask the question. One arm is hamburgers.
Oh, hamburger. I thought you said Hamilton. Sorry. Hamburgers. Sorry.
One is peanut butter. Which one would you let go if it has to be gone for eternity?
Excuse my mishearing of you there. I love hamburgers. Hamburgers are great, but let's just be honest. Hamburgers are no peanut butter. I mean, peanut butter is one of the most incredibly amazing foods of our time. I'm going to give you the short, because I only have 3 minutes. I'm going to give you the short minute list of what peanut butter brings to the game. Peanut butter and crackers, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, peanut butter and banana. You got peanut butter toast. You got peanut butter that's in the middle of Reese's, peanut butter shakes. I just like to get any kind of ice cream I have in my freezer and put peanut butter on top of it. Peanut butter makes so many things. You can put peanut butter on celery. Y'all, we found something that you can put on celery to make celery good. And you can even put little raisins on it and call it little ants on a log. And it's cute. All right? Peanut butter has changed the game. It is a protein-enriched food that is super fatty, that makes you full and sleep well at night. And if you get rid of that, we're in big trouble, because I will have moments at night where I cry wishing for one more peanut butter and cracker that I could drink a glass of milk with and feel like the world's going to be okay again. We got to hold on to peanut butter.
Mr. Longshore.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was going to ask you one question. You've been out hiking. Maybe you forgot to take lunch with you, and you left early that morning. And it's been a long, long day, and haven't had anything to eat. You've just been doing what you can to stay hydrated. And you get to the end of that trail, and you get in your car, and all you can think about is getting to a cafeteria and ordering a peanut butter sandwich. No, that is not what you're thinking about at all. You are thinking about biting into the biggest, juiciest hamburger you can find. That is what you're thinking about. That is what is on your brain, because hamburgers are superior to peanut butter. I will give Q everything he said about everything that peanut butter can do, but it cannot and will not ever be the thing that is on your mind when you are hungry and when you are starving. It will always be biting in to that big, juicy hamburger.
Rena, do you remember that place, that wing place in Eugene?
Hot Mamas?
Hot Mamas. Do you remember that hamburger that was made infinitely better that we had there one night?
I don't think I got that.
But do you know what they put on it?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
You know how you make a hamburger better? You put peanut butter on it.
No.
That's what you do.
I'm sorry, I object.
You don't put a hamburger on a hamburger. You put peanut butter on a hamburger.
No. Do not do that. Do not do that.
All right.
You know what Reese's did? They put chocolate around peanut butter because peanut butter wasn't enough.
No.
That's what they did.
They took chocolate and they put peanut butter inside it and upped the game.
No.
Do you know why Reese's is the number? You know why Reese's is the number one candy eaten, not Hershey's milk chocolate? Peanut butter.
All
Just
right.
saying, peanut butter needs something to make it.
It don't.
It does. Peanut butter on crackers.
No.
You just said all the things that you just said. Peanut butter needs
bull.
something.
If you had a can of peanut butter right here, right now. One night I got so sleepy and I woke up and I was kind of half in it and half out of it. And before I knew it, I was just eating peanut butter right out of the jar, like 7 spoons in. And then I realized I can't finish this, and I didn't even tell my family because I didn't want them to know I've been eating straight out of the same spoon in it. I just let it go and just buried it.
That's fine. Everybody go home this weekend, fire up your grill, and make you a peanut butter sandwich on it. That's what you should do.
Yes.
You know what you don't have to do? You don't have to work for peanut butter. Peanut butter don't say you got patty, you just meat out and put this seasoning on it. You know what it says? Open this jar and stick whatever you want to in this jar and eat it.
Because the
It
best things in life require a little bit of work.
All right. On to our next question. You have the power to resurrect a real person from the dead. Who would you choose and why? Nick?
I feel like I'm getting all these weird questions and he's getting the good ones. I wish I had done that coin toss. But off the top of my head, since we were just given these questions right before we started, off the top of my head, I think for the day and age and the time that we live in, I would love to see Abraham Lincoln come and just kind of give us I would love to let Abraham Lincoln kind of just see everything that's going on and then just go, all right, guys, here's what I would do in your shoes. I think that would be something for both sides of the aisle I think that would be something great for them both to hear. In the times that we live in the day and age that we live in, I think that would be perfect. And plus, I've just always wanted to meet the guy. I mean, to go through to do the things he did. Man, can you imagine the pressure and the weight that was on him in that time? And so just top of my head, first thing I'm thinking of, because Jesus already brought himself back from the dead, so I can't really pick that one. So I'm going with Abraham Lincoln. That's my choice.
Quentin?
I think that's, man, you're just on your history run today, which is good. I think I'd go with Robin Williams. I think that the world needs some joy from him. And I know he had some mental health issues that led to him taking his own life. But I think that if we knew that now, maybe we could help. Other than that, the only other one I could think of is actually Tupac, because I think he would tell us exactly how much trash Hamilton was. It's trash.
Can I just say I do agree with that a little more Robin Williams could not hurt a thing. That is absolutely true. But I think that Tupac would be front row for Hamilton as many times as it possibly could be. But it might be hard because it's been sold out for like 6 years.
Do you think holograph Tupac would sit in the audience?
Tupac may not even be dead, honestly.
I bet I don't think Tupac is dead.
I really probably. I don't think he's dead.
No,
either.
he's not dead.
Do you think he's dead?
Probably.
No, he's not dead.
No.
So that actually leads into our next question quite nicely. If you could start a conspiracy theory, what would it be?
If I could start a conspiracy theory, the conspiracy theory that I feel most drawn to, honestly, is this conspiracy that I think that V for Vendetta is like real. I really do think media is trying to take over the world. Like they are trying to, whoever's the high up media executives, I do not know them. I don't really care to know them. Maybe I should. I think they are trying to see themselves as leaders of the world, and they're trying to sway it.
So do you think it's like station owners like Rupert Murdoch and Ted Turner, or do you think it's people under them, or both?
I think it's them. I think they're trying to feel this immense amount of power and take over the world. In fact, I don't even think that when a one world leader arises, I know a lot of people think it'll be some like leader of a country. I would not be surprised to be a leader of a media outlet that would become the one world leader that we would find ourselves facing. I think that everything media has now gotten to the point where it's hyper controlling everything. I think the narratives are being written by them. I think they're encouraging their reporters to only write the narratives they want to write to get them to places they want to get. They're writing the fiction that we're living. That's my theory.
All right, Nick?
And you're starting that, so you're not really starting a conspiracy theory. You're saying that there is one already out there.
I guess.
This already exists.
Yes, I think this is going
Okay.
on. And like V for Vendetta, I really wish V existed. And I don't know if we can do that. That's probably against the law.
It's based off a real guy.
Well, I'm just saying it's probably against the law for us to all buy masks and go, I don't know. We can
Blow
go.
up buildings? Yeah, it's against the law.
Even if it's like bad buildings?
Yeah, that's not a bad building. He blew up like like the place where the government meets in London.
It's a bad building.
I don't tend to steer towards conspiracy theories. Like, to me, I don't think the media is trying to run the world. I think the media is trying to gain all the money and influence that it possibly can. And so they're doing everything they can to get eyes on their screen, especially in a day and age where less and less people are actually watching TV. So you've got to do something to get people to click on your stories and things like that. So I wouldn't, I'm not willing to go that far yet with the media. Now, is the media jacked up? Absolutely. But I think it's more about the dollar than it is about trying to run the world. If I was to start a conspiracy theory, man, I really don't know. I guess, I have no way to start. I guess my conspiracy theory would be to start a conspiracy that the St. Louis Cardinals are run by Nazis because I hate the Cardinals, and so maybe that would end them forever.
Okay. Do you have a rebuttal?
I mean, baseball sucks.
All right.
That's my rebuttal. Like, I could care. Somebody the other day tried to tell me about like some kind of toe fungus, and to which I replied to them, the only thing I could care less about than the toe fungus is politics. I would like to retract that statement and say the only thing I could care less about that is baseball and politics.
Did you watch it in the World Series?
No.
Very exciting series.
Yeah, okay, if you had 6 hours to burn for a game.
Look, listen, I'm not going to argue this. We've already had this conversation. Yes, it's too long. They've got to do something about it, but it's still a great
If I'm going to watch something for 6 hours,
it's not 6 hours.
I better be on
that's
the
an
edge.
Exaggeration.
That's
an exaggeration.
No, it's
that's
6
what
hours.
you do.
There's
That's what you
6
do. You
hours.
exaggerate.
If I want to watch
All right,
you take
I
things
have
too far,
a
you take things too far.
Swords,
you take things too far.
spears,
Gentlemen.
blood.
You take it too far.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask a question off the cuff because you guys are getting really riled up. Why is baseball considered America's sport?
Who answers that first?
I'm going to have Nick go first.
I think because, it's one of the greatest monologues in the history of movies is James Earl Jones in Field of Dreams.
It has nothing to do with wine.
Well, no, but he says why in the monologue.
He's asking like real life baseball, not movie baseball.
No, he's talking. He says baseball has marked the times. And it has. I mean, baseball. I mean, before there was NFL, before there was NBA, there was baseball. They've been playing baseball professionally in America since like the 1880s.
That's the most.
It has literally marked our history.
You can say that about so many things.
You
know what?
not sport. No, we're talking about sports here.
Bread.
He said, "Why is it America's sport?"
Bread.
He didn't say, "Why is it America's bread?"
Bread
He
is
said, "Why is it America's
Mark
sport?"
our times.
And I'm telling you why it's America's sport. It's because there's and
Is it
there's
the oldest sport in America?
And there's nothing like professionally. Yeah, there's nobody's been playing professional.
But it's not the oldest sport in America.
Who knows what the oldest sport in America is? But professional baseball is the oldest professional sport in America. And
So when we capitalize something that was used to have fun, that's when we decide it's America. It's probably right. You know what? We capitalize something and try to make money off something that was the sport was used to fun and create its morals and teach us lessons. Instead, we monetize it and say this is what America's about.
I'm just telling you, there's nothing like sitting in the stands with some friends and watching a baseball game. There's nothing like it because it's
But there's 1,000 things better.
But no, there's not. There's not because there's something about just being there. You can have a conversation during the game, and there's so much that goes on behind. And
Your feet can go to sleep.
And look, we've had the conversation. Look, we've had the conversation. I know they've got because it's gotten too long. They put in some rules this year that helped it a lot. It got too long because they'd bring in a different relief pitcher for every batter, and it would take forever, and they'd go to 17 commercials, and I get all that. It got too long. Because back in the day, you'd get one guy pitch a doubleheader, pitch 18 innings, and his arm might be falling off, but nobody cares. He'd just throw some chewing tobacco on it and go back and pitch tomorrow because that's the way they did things back then. But there's just nothing. There's nothing like sitting in the stands and watching a baseball game with the people you love. There's just nothing quite like it.
Well, I think that's the most amount of hogwash I've heard in a long, long time. I'll tell you why America is not. I mean, why baseball is not America's sport, or whatever you said, Jeff, Rena.
It's the national pastime.
Okay, because viewership continues to go down. The viewership of Major League Baseball continues to decline, while viewership of football increases. There may have had its day, but its day is come and gone. And we need to understand that. We cannot be stuck in our past when the future is trying to take us to a different place. Hear me, people. We have to be willing to go to a new place. Baseball is something that's archaic. It's slow. It reminds us of a time when we were trapped and could not move past the boundaries that were set before us. Let us move past this idea of it being America's pastime, and let's let America choose its pastime instead of its pastimes choosing us.
Nick, do you have anything to respond? 1 minute.
I mean, the only response is I understand his argument, and I have agreed with this argument how many times. Does baseball need to evolve in order to get up with the norms of today and be a little quicker pace and all those things? Absolutely, it does. But that does not change the fact that it is a great game, and it is a great pastime.
I'd rather watch basketball than baseball.
I used to really like that movie. All right, on to our next question. Let's see. Which is better, Fantastic Four or Alpha Flight? I'll give this to you, Quentin.
Well, I know.
First of all, Quentin, you might want to tell the viewers and the listeners who Alpha Flight is, because most people don't know.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, Alpha Flight, you don't.
Fantastic Four, like vanilla milkshake. That's how you know Fantastic Four. It's been here forever. It tastes the same. It never gets any better. All right? So it's going to be okay. Alpha Flight is like that thing you get at Sonic that's like a strawberry cheese quake blizzard thingy that you get on a Dairy Queen. But there you go. All right? Alpha Flight was a Canadian team developed by Marvel, and it had some of the greatest heroes of our recent past, including probably one of the greatest heroes that we've had in cinema and on the Marvel comic books, called Wolverine. You may have heard of him. He got his first team he was a part of was Alpha Flight. They found him after he escaped from the Weapon X program. He joined them, and from there became part of the X-Men. It also, though, had heroes such as
you've actually heard of.
Heroes such as Shaman, which represented the first pre any Native American representation taking place in the X-Men comic books. Shaman was a native to a native people group of the Canadians, and he was part of their group. You also have Sasquatch, who represents a whole group and tribe of people that dates back to the historical turn in the Marvel history of where mutants began. Sasquatch even represents this whole other group of people. He changes time. It's just, they have some very incredible characters. If you're into Marvel, you realize how much they've shaped it. But if you are just a casual movie watcher, you probably don't get it. But because of that, I'd say Alpha Flight is the superior team.
Nick?
All I can say is, I'm not the comic book fan that Q is, admittedly. But I did have to be reminded what Alpha Flight was. And now, once you did remind me, I did remember that it was a Canadian. Let me say that again. It was a Canadian superhero team, all right? Because, everything good comes from Canada.
Do you not like Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler's not from Canada. Adam Sandler's from Long Island. Pick a different actor. Maybe you're thinking of Mike Myers or Ryan Reynolds or
Jim Carrey.
One of those guys. Good argument. So it's that simple. Yes, Alpha Flight is cool. It's cool origin story, but it's not about the origin story. Nobody cares that Wolverine was an Alpha Flight. They care that he was an X-Man. He was in the X-Men. He was one of the leaders, one of the most important characters in the X-Men. And if Alpha Flight was so great, then why did he leave and go to X-Men? All right, it doesn't
not a lot to
make
do
any
in
sense.
Canada.
And look, I'm just telling you, I think it's cool. I think it's a great origin story. I like everything about it, but it doesn't compare to Fantastic Four, the first family of comics.
I understand.
That is what they are, all right? And they have been, and so, I mean, there's been times when Spider-Man has been a member of the Fantastic Four, which makes it even cooler because
Wolverine-
Spider-Man is awesome.
Wolverine's been part of the
Wolverine
Fantastic
has been part of the Fantastic Four. I mean, it's Reed Richards is one of the greatest minds in comics and has saved the world universe multiple times in
So
comics.
you would agree that an original member of Alpha Flight was good enough to be invited to be part of the Fantastic Four, but never has a member of Fantastic Four been good enough to be invited to join Alpha Flight?
No, they were probably invited. They just didn't care.
I don't think they were ever invited.
Yeah, because that would be like me inviting, you know, Barack Obama to dinner. It ain't gonna happen, so why would I extend the invite?
You never know if you don't ask, Nick. Yeah, I believe I believe in that. You're saying no for Barack Obama instead of allowing him to say no for himself. But the one thing we know that we all want to say no to is Fantastic Four movies because
are awful.
they're the worst hero movies that have ever been made.
The first one was at least watchable, and then the last one, oh wow. But the Marvel Cinema actually has control of the Fantastic Four again. Sure. Thank God. So hopefully there is going to be a good Fantastic Four movie on the horizon.
Why is there not a MCU uniting of the Alpha Flight team?
You talking about the cinema?
Yeah.
In the cinema?
Because they forgot they existed.
I'm sure there will be at some point.
Yeah.
It's very
When they run out of the other 350 heroes they have, they'll get to Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight has not been a running title for near the time that X-Men or
Fantastic Four
have been. Avengers, those type of comics, Thor even. But the characters that are in there continually get played out in other books. For instance, Sasquatch is right now in the current run of the Immortal Hulk, which is the current run of Hulk. He is part of that. As recent history, Puck, who's one of the main Alpha Flight characters, has been involved in the X-Men. So they still have.
So good for them. They've moved on to places where they can actually be known and useful.
All right, on to our next question.
Apparently, I think you don't like Canada, and that's a problem.
I got no problem
Yeah.
with Canada. I'm just not where I get my superheroes.
If I look at our statistics right, we have one person who's listened to us in Canada, and that Rena showed us recently. And what I feel like you're telling them,
and I hope I get to visit one.
what I feel like you're telling them is that you don't matter as much as all the other ones because you're not as mean as you.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
That's what it feels
Just saying
like.
your superhero team does not.
I'm sorry. I feel like your superhero team is still good, and I feel like Mounties are just as good as police officers.
Now, Mounties are probably cooler than police officers. Yeah, they get to ride on horses and they wear those cool hats.
All right, Nick, is golf a sport? Why or why not?
You know, I've been waiting for this debate because obviously this hit Facebook pretty hard and became a topic of discussion. And I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. It gives me anxiety and depression, which I don't need any more of. And here's what I've decided, and it's not a long argument. It's just simply what I have decided is that at the end of the day, golf requires an athletic move to do it well. In order to do golf and do it well, you have to complete an athletic move that requires skill, yes, but it does require athleticism. And also, not to mention that, to be on the pro tour, you have to be able to walk 18 holes, which in many times in these guys, I mean, that's 7,200, 7,600 yards, in between walking all of it. I mean, they've walked 5, 6, 7 miles in between hitting a golf shot. So absolutely, golf is a sport. I can understand why somebody would argue against that. But in my humble opinion, if it requires athleticism, here's the deal. Do you get better at golf by working out? Yes. Do you get better at golf by getting in shape? Yes. You get better at golf in the same way that you get better at any other sport, athletic sport. So, yes, that makes it a sport.
Quentin?
So just to revisit some of the things you said. It takes an athletic move.
Yes.
Does hula hooping take an athletic move?
Yes, but it's
Okay,
not-
so hula hooping is a sport.
okay. I can go with that. I can go with that.
So then let's just, you know what? Couch diving's a sport.
Couch diving's not a thing.
Cow tipping's a sport.
I would pay to watch cow tipping, so okay, yeah.
Rain dancing is a sport. Takes an athletic move. You had to do rain dance. You ever done rain dance? Takes an athletic move. I'm just saying it's
I would
so
say rain
ludicrous.
dancing is dancing.
It's ludicrous to say that.
Which also could
it's
be
ludicrous.
a
It is
sport.
ludicrous to say that because it takes an athletic move, it makes it a sport. What you're doing there is trying to simplify what a sport is, and people, we know this. Don't look. Sports are much more complex equations than just X plus Y. All right. The other thing, though, you said is that they have to walk like 7 miles, which 95% of the world's population can do.
I don't know, 95%? No.
Oh yeah, easy 95.
No,
I actually,
no, I doubt it.
Oh yeah,
I doubt it. So you're saying like 95% of the world's population is like under 70, 80, because most 70, 80-year-olds can't walk 7 miles.
yeah. Most of them can.
I doubt it.
My dad's almost 70,
Yeah.
and right there I said, "Hey, Daddy, can you go walk 7 miles?" He's like,
Well,
"Yeah, I'm gonna walk
here's the
7 miles."
deal. We can't ever use your dad as an example. Your dad's a freak.
Take Jimmy Kilgore.
Your dad also can climb trees
Take Jimmy
without any
Kilgore.
help.
Take Paul. Paul is 85.
I don't know if he wants to walk 7 miles.
I'm
though.
not saying he wants to, but I'm saying he can. And do they not get breaks in the middle of that? If they
don't
want to sit
know.
down, can they sit down?
Not really, because they got to keep the pace. They got to stay, or they'll get strokes taken off and everything, so they don't keep the pace up.
All I know is at the end of the day, Raina, I just want you to understand this, because I feel like this question's for you as you are trying to figure out what athletics you want to be a part of. Is that if baseball was an emotion, it would be apathy. And what's so incredible, as you talked about how you deal with your emotions, is that if golf was an emotion or an issue, it would be depression and anxiety. I've spent time on the golf course just because. I mean, I would not call myself a golfer by no means, but I cannot tell you the amount of times I've seen anxiety play out on a golf course and people be depressed over a golf swing. More than I have seen in any other sport, honestly.
I think I've ever been depressed over it. I've been upset and frustrated.
I've seen people throw golf clubs.
That's not depression. That's anger.
It's anxiety and depression. Anger is a secondary emotion, Rena. People, anger is your secondary emotion. It comes from another place. And depression and anxiety will take you to places of anger. Golf is not a sport. And the problem with the reason that it's so sad that we've tried to make it a sport is that it was never meant to be a sport. When it was created, it was a leisurely activity for men to connect and compete with. That doesn't mean it's sport. And a leisure activity. It was meant to smoke us a good cigar. It was meant to, in England, they would drink a good stout while they walked around the golf course. And they would have time just with the fellas talking about life. What we've done is change something.
This is more than a minute.
What we've done is change something
Your timer's
that was
broken.
meant to be a leisurely community building activity, and we've changed it to a sport, and we've tried to make it competitive.
10 seconds.
It was never meant to be that, and I will relinquish the rest of my time.
All right. And
Hey, next week is the Masters, and the first 2 days of the Masters are going to be carried on ESPN. You may know what the S in ESPN stands for?
Hey, does anybody,
That's all I need to talk about.
Anybody know that 2 months ago that they had the MBK video game competition on ESPN?
Yeah, because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
And you know what video games is not? It's not a dang sport.
Well,
all right?
they were playing a sport on the video game.
It's not a dang sport. Quit calling everything sports.
Didn't call everything sports.
Sports
Didn't
means
call everything
teams.
sports.
Means
Didn't call
competition.
it does not mean teams. So
It means teams.
tennis isn't a sport?
Tennis
isn't a sport?
It is not a sport.
You're saying tennis is not a
Tennis
sport
is
now?
not a sport.
Oh, wow.
all right.
Tennis is not a sport.
All right. We're going on to our next question.
Wow.
Rate the following comic book publishers from worst to
Hey,
best.
hold on. I'm sorry. I know you're moving us forward. You would tell you what athletes do when they retire? They play golf because they're done playing sports.
Or it's just an easier sport.
You know what actors do? You know what actors do when they retire? They play golf. They're not athletes. It's retirement. It's leisure.
You know what they call Tiger Woods? Not one of the greatest champions in the history of golf. They call him one of the greatest champions in the history of sport. That is what they say.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Michael, listen. If you took just a straight baseline scientific measure, Michael Jordan could get infinitely closer to doing what Tiger Woods does than what Tiger Woods getting close to what Michael Jordan does.
Okay.
Because Michael Jordan is an athlete that plays a sport that takes a certain level of skill. That's the difference. You can't take a golfer and put them on a basketball team and do okay. You can't take a golfer and put them in a football game, but you can take a football player or a basketball player and put them on the golf
We're
course.
moving on
Not
to the next
necessarily.
question.
Charles Barkley is
Not
an exception.
necessarily.
Charles Barkley's an exception.
Not necessarily.
We're moving on. Rate the following comic book publishers from worst to best: Marvel, DC, and Image.
God, this is the question I was looking forward to the least after you gave us the question list, because I love all of these. Like, and I'm not talking about just like a little bit. I feel like there are certain things that we experience in our life that shape us. Things like Jesus. That's not funny.
It's funny because what you're about to compare him to.
It's not funny. Things like Jesus. Reading of certain stories in Scripture. Moments on mountains in Mentone. Adventures with friends. Loves of your life that you find, if some of us are lucky enough to marry.
2 minutes.
So now your wife is in this comparison. Okay.
The birth of children.
Get on, man. Time's almost up.
And in this short list of things that have influenced my life, these three stand right there with them. But if I was forced, if I was said you can only read one of these, and I've known what I've read of them and how they've affected me and changed me, I think I would go with Marvel. And I think, oddly enough, I would go with Image, primarily because of a book called The Walking Dead that is so much different from the show. I'm not saying anything about the show. The show's trash compared to the book. And then DC. But I don't want to take anything from DC. DC's Jeff Johns on DC, some of his writing changed me. And I really appreciate it. So Jeff, excuse me for I know he's a high up in DC now, and I hope he doesn't hold this against me personally.
Nick?
I don't know how to respond to this because it just got way too serious. Look. Here's the deal. Okay, DC's great, but it's top heavy. Okay, it doesn't have the depth of Marvel. Image, I only know a few characters from Image, know a few comic books from Image, so it doesn't have the depth of Marvel. Marvel is deep. The characters are Marvel's just made a movie, a Shang-Chi movie just wrapped production. Most of you don't even know who Shang-Chi is. But guess what? When his movie comes out, you're going to find out who he is, and he's a bad, bad man because he's part of the depth of what Marvel is. And just that depth puts them over the top. So I would go Marvel, DC, Image.
I have no issues with him. I mean, I have no rebuttal on that. I mean, I think from someone who's a shallow comic book reader, that makes perfect sense.
You're going to make Steve-O really sad with that answer.
I apologize. I apologize to Steve O'Green, who is the greatest comic book artist of our generation.
His current book is Image.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's why I said that.
It is. But
And it's a great book, by the way.
it is a great book. It's a
I
fantastic
keep
book.
my Image app just to purchase that book and read it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So having said all that, if you only read one comic book, read our buddy Steve-O's.
Yes.
It's great.
Sea of
Sea of
Stars.
Stars.
Get it?
Yes.
All right, on to our final question for the evening. Are you guys ready?
Dude, cannot wait.
Are you pleased with how this debate has
Yeah, I mean,
gone
I
so
think
far?
thoroughly mopped the floor with my opponent. So I'm looking forward to doing it on one more question.
I think that you have done great, and Nick has done adequate.
Thank you. All right.
And I've been a shining moment for all of reality. Like, if you're listening to this, you're welcome. I'm just going to say it before Nick says it. The universe is a safer place.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, it is. Our final question is, what paints a better narrative, a song or a short story? We're going to start with Nick.
You know, when you first asked this question earlier, I was torn because a short story, you have so much more room to develop narrative. And I'm actually listening to a book of short stories right now by Stephen King. One that I was so riveted by, actually, that I sat in my driveway for 30 minutes when I got home last night just so I could finish listening to it. It was fantastic. So I feel like you have a lot of room. You have a lot, because short story is very vague term, because a short story can be, a couple of chapters, and it can be almost a whole book. It can be a novella type thing. But there's something in a song. There's something in a melody and something about it that just creates a world that is unescapable, unimaginable outside of that melody, outside of those notes. And those stories that I'm reading are great, but those stories will become a kind of a vague memory 2, 3, 4 years from now. I might listen to them again and forget so much about them. But I will never, ever forget the stories that I've heard through song. Last night, I was singing The Gambler by Kenny Rogers, just singing in my bathroom, getting ready for bed, singing The Gambler on a warm summer evening on a train bound for nowhere. Met it with a gambler, both too tired to speak. And just hearing Kenny's voice, just the gravel, just say that story. It's stuck in my brain. You just see it. You see it play out. It's so wonderful. And there's a song by Trisha Yearwood, which is funny that I don't listen to a lot of songs by Trisha Yearwood, but there's a song by Trisha Yearwood that I love. It's called "The Song Remembers When." And one of the lines is that even though I may have forgotten, the song remembers when. And there's just something about a song that takes you to a place and a time that nothing else can take you to. So if I have to choose how I want my stories told, musically every time.
Quentin?
Well, I don't want to take away from the fact that songs are very powerful. I think we all know that.
Oh, yeah.
There's been times you've sang songs that have emotionally affected me. I've really enjoyed it. I don't want to, and we all know that. If you're out there and you're watching this or you're listening to this, you know how powerful a moment can be when a song hits at just the right point. The thing I think that's different is that how they affect us and how they move us. What I've learned, and I thought about when we had this question and when you were talking about the songs that affected you, automatically the Kurt Reznor song "Hurt," that when it was redone by Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that for the first time, and it unlocked some things inside of me. But it didn't change me. It helped me understand things that were already existing inside of me. For me, I put it down this way: songs tell me about who I am in ways I didn't know. It revealed some things about me that I didn't understand fully until that song played it out. In fact, a lot of times when I'm feeling a certain way, if I'm feeling down or feeling really happy, or I'm going into a situation, I like music to amplify the feelings that exist inside of me, which I think is great. But I think where short stories maybe has the upper edge on this, and I think it's slight. All right, I don't want to say we're running away with this one, but I don't think it's slight, is that stories tell me about who I could be. I think where songs tell me about who I am, and they help, magnify these emotions and explain these emotions inside. Stories a lot of times show me things that I didn't know could be and could exist. I'll never forget of all the stories I've read, when we really look at short stories, and Stephen King's interesting to look at, but the horror genre is hard to to figure out exactly how it can lead you.
Well, so much of Stephen King isn't horror.
Yeah, it's
Some of
not.
the ones
It's true.
where-
It's true. But many of you guys may have seen the movie Shawshank Redemption. It was actually a part of a series short stories. And when you read about Dufresne and how he goes through that whole process, it did something about telling me who I could be. Who that when I might face hard times, here is an example of what it looks like to withstand, to be righteous, and to seek the truth and the freedom.
30 seconds.
And so I think the story tells us who we could be, where the song just exemplifies who we are. And so I'd say, look, you should always, man, Spotify, I'm always listening to music. But what I'm also always doing is listening to the stories. Because I believe life is a story. And I think our stories we can learn from the stories around us. So short stories, I think, are more impactful in the long run than songs.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now we're on to our closings. Do you have a
I would just like to add this one statement. I agree, but I would say that songs do the same thing. My favorite song ever written is a song by a man named Rich Mullins, who's my favorite songwriter of all time. And he wrote a very simple chorus that says, "If I stand, let me stand on the promise that you will pull me through. And if I can't, let me fall on the grace that first brought me to you. If I sing, let me sing for the joy that has borne me these songs. And if I weep, let it be as a man who is longing for his home." I am not that man yet, but that song shows me that I can be. And so my argument would be that songs do exactly what he just argued that stories do.
All right. On to our closing statements. Since Nick had his last statement there, Quentin, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think there's been a lot of incredible questions asked tonight. And I think you've got to hear some interesting arguments. What I hope you understand is that when it comes to saving the universe, you're going to need someone that can see the value in more than just the surface level things. Sure, Fantastic Four, been around forever. But somebody has to see the value that exists inside of Alpha Flight. Baseball, yeah, it's been around forever. But what about new sports that are happening? What about the change that is taking place in our culture? I mean, when we look at the fact of hamburgers, hamburgers are this, like, yeah, you can get them at every restaurant. You know what? You can't get peanut butter sandwiches. But maybe it's the things that we can't get so easily that's exactly what our universe needs right now. And really, at the end of it all, look, I get it. Hamilton talks about history. And I know we need that to learn from that to survive. But sometimes we need to take something that an artist actually does, like ABBA. And we need to use it to shape the world instead of letting the world shape our artist. So if you need someone to save the universe, I want you to understand I'm an artist.
You're so serious.
And I think in these days and ages, that an artist is exactly what the world needs. I promise you this, that I will not discount the little man. I will not discount small organizations like Alpha Flight. I will realize that hula hooping and golf should stand on the same platform and talk together. I see that songs have value, but I realize that short stories take us places that we need to go. So if you find me fitting to help you save the universe, I think it's going to be a really, really great universe. Thank you.
Nick.
Look, I'll just keep this real simple. I'm also an artist, but I'm also a realist, okay? And here's what's real. Hamilton is better than Mamma Mia, okay? Hamburgers are better than peanut butter, okay? Real person that you would resurrect from the dead, Abraham Lincoln, better than whoever he said. I forgot who it was.
Tupac.
Fantastic Four, better than Alpha Flight, okay? Songs, Better than short stories. How many songs you listen to a day? How many short stories you read a day? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we pretty much agreed on the Marvel thing. Golf is a sport. Golf is a sport. And here's the great thing about golf. It's a sport that we all can enjoy, that we all can go play, that we can all go challenge ourselves with. And so I just brought you what's real tonight, okay? Yes, I'm an artist, and I love all things art, same as Q, but I'm also a realist, and I'm going to lead you into a real universe that really needs saving, and we're going to do real things about real issues, and we're going to find real answers. That's what's going to happen, okay? So thank you for listening. Thank you ahead of time for your support, because I know that it's probably already pouring in as you're watching and listening to this. And once again, like you said earlier, a little bit ahead of when he should, because it wasn't good timing. You're welcome, America. You're welcome, universe. I'm happy to lead you into a beautiful new world that we can all enjoy together.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Nick and Q Debate the Universe. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Do you guys want to be cute and say your slogan together at the end? In unison?
The universe is once again a safe place to live.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yay!